Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to do a follow-up to my last Variax video. That video was comparing a Fender Strat to the modeled Strat sound in Variax to how I modified the settings in Workbench to get the Strat in Variax to sound like what I want it to sound like. So I had in the comments some questions and requests about going into a little more detail on how I set it up and what I do. So that's what I want to do in this video. Before I switch over to my custom bank, I just want to play through the stock Variax Strat sounds to let you, for reference, hear what the stock Strat sounds like, and then we'll move over to mine and go from there. So here's the neck pickup of the stock Strat. Neck and middle. Middle position. Middle bridge. And bridge. To my ears, the criticism is this Strat's a little bit bright and harsh. In fact, a lot of Variax users actually would roll back their firmware to 1.9 to get the old Strat sound back. They say that this is, folks from Line 6 have commented that this sounds like the Strat they modeled, and I totally believe that. I think the Strat they modeled just happened to be kind of bright. Which Strats are known to be bright. I think if this one was just on the far end of that spectrum. And I think going back to a pre-HD or pre-2.0 firmware, you give up a lot, I think. You give up the ability to use Workbench HD. You lose all the other HD models. So that's why I just decided to go ahead and go in and modify the Strat settings to get it more to my liking. And I think it's very much quite doable. So the first thing I did, Workbench doesn't really have an EQ, any kind of EQ control. But if you adjust the resistance value on the tone control, the lower the value, the more the high end gets rolled off. So that was kind of the first thing I did. 250 is the stock value, so I went down to 100 just to take some off. That helped some. Then on the pickups, I moved the neck pickup a little bit farther away from the bridge, 6.7 inches instead of 6.1. So again, moving farther away from the bridge takes a little high end off. Another thing I did was basically stack two single coil neck pickups together. I used the middle position pickup to add another neck pickup, and they're just sitting right on top of each other in parallel. It's subtle. It's not a huge change, but it adds, I think, just a little bit more thickness to it. But you can experiment with that and see what you think. I also boosted the level quite a bit. Single coils are not as high output as humbuckers, so on the one hand, I wanted to boost it so when I use single coils and humbuckers in the same song or same set, there wasn't a big volume difference. What I did find by boosting both of these was it got quite loud and would clip. So I used the preset volume to pull it back and get it more in line. Now here's my thinking on the obvious question would be, why not just bring the level of the pickups down? And the reason I did that, and I didn't really A/B it, so I'm just telling you what in my thought process behind this, not necessarily saying de facto this is how the software works. But when using amp modeling, of course, the master volume changes the tone, whereas the channel volume just changes the volume only. So my thinking was boosting the level might give me a hotter output sound from the pickup models, whereas the volume is just going to bring that down. So I was kind of going off the same thinking I would with amp models, that if I'm going to boost something, I'd rather boost the level, and that might be the tonal change I'm looking for. To be fair, I didn't really do a lot of A-Bing of bringing this level back down and the patch volume up and A-Bing those. I just kind of got it to where once I like the tone, I used the preset volume to get the volume where I needed it. So take that for what it's worth. Again, that was my thinking on it and why I did that. So all that being said, here's the neck pickup sound. So it's just a rounder, more mellow tone than the stock. If I dig in, I can still get that stratty, that still get to pop, and get that attack and bite, but it is overall to me a more mellow tone. So there's that one. Now the neck and middle, I just kind of drug the pickups around till they got into my ears into a position that sounded the best. Feel free to just experiment. I think the number 2 and number 4 positions of the stock Strat really aren't that bad. So this was just something I experimented with and just kind of ended up with the pickups where you see them. So here is that tone. It's kind of got that, getting into that kind of Strat quack territory there, but still kind of mellow, bright enough, but not piercing. Onto the middle position, basically I use the same technique as I did on the neck. Stacked 2 pickups together, pulled the tone down to 100. Placement wise, I thought they sounded fine, and 3.8 was the original placement. So here's the middle pickup. So basically the same, not too far away from removed from the stock, just basically using that tone pot value to bring it down and adding the second pickup to just kind of thicken it a little bit. Okay, middle and bridge. One of the things I did, while I would totally not like to visually see the bridge pickup on a Strat like straight across like that, because I mean they're just supposed to be angled. Tone wise, I think it makes more sense to have them at the very least have it straight like this. Having the high strings, the pole pieces for the high strings closer to the bridge to add even more bite to the bridge of a Strat has just never made any sense to me whatsoever, because with Strat single coil bridge position, you're already fighting a lot of high end in real Strats, not just modeled stuff. So I straightened out the angle here to kind of cut back on that. And so anyway, here is the middle and bridge position. So it's got that, that quack to it that it's very useful for like funk style playing. Of course, a lot of U2 sounds as well. The Edge uses a lot of that sound when he does a lot of his delay stuff, like Streets Have No Name and things like that. But there's that tone, and then the bridge. As I mentioned earlier, again, I don't subscribe to the theory that the high strings that should be closer to the bridge as far as the pole pieces of the pickup. So on the bridge pickup, again, I stacked 2 pickups together, pulled the resistance down to 100, and moved them closer to the neck away from the bridge, and then also angled the high strings away from the bridge for even more top end roll off for the high strings, while still getting more of the high end out of the low strings. Which just makes sense to me. So here's what the bridge sounds like. I'll add a little bit of drive too. So it has that bridge pickup sound, obviously, but it's not that, really high frequency, ice picking, really, harsh frequency on the ears. To me, it's a lot smoother sounding with it set up this way. So anyway, that's pretty much, that's how I set up my Strats. I'm going to put a link to download this bank in the description. There'll be a Dropbox link if you want to download it. Feel free to try it out. I encourage you also, try this out, but don't be afraid to experiment. I mean, Workbench is a great piece of software, and you can just get in there and try all kinds of stuff. For example, the main custom bank that I use my neck position a lot for rhythm, but I find really for doing a lot of rock stuff for the bridge position, I like single coil bridge is okay, but I there's almost like I like that Les Paul bridge sound, so I wanted to do something in between. So my main patch actually put a P90 in the bridge. Here's what that sounds like. So it kind of is a halfway between, the heavier, humbucker style guitar sound and the single coil style sound. So, again, don't be afraid to experiment. Try different pickups on different bodies. You never know what you may come up with that just works perfectly for you. So anyway, there's basically, again, there's how I set up my Strat. Download it, try it out, see if you like it. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and any other Workbench or Variax videos you'd like to see. I'll try to work those up. But as always, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.